SO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. Right, we're going to continue Tank Week with today's updated build for the Dragonknight tank. This is my Unyielding Brute. So we made a lot of changes with the Dragon Bones DLC. And some of these are going to be optional depending on encounter. But let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, character sheet. This is a sorting board on both sides. You're going to see max magic at 20,379, max health 42,347. I downgraded this because a lot of players were struggling with their resource management. But if you do like a lot of health and you are able to maintain resources, you can still scale this up. Just some players were struggling, so I just accommodated to those players with the updated version of this build. Maximum stamina is at 23,187. Magic recovery 778. Stamina recovery 729. You're going to go ahead and see also our resistance before the buffs are applied is 21,895 and 21,484. All right, to the left, you're going to go ahead and see 14 points allocated into Magicka, none into health, and 50 into stamina. We are using the Mage Mundus, and we're using triple max food. Okay, so let me go ahead and get into the sets. We're going to be using Plague Doctors, Ebon, right here, and of course, Bloodspawn. Okay, let's go down piece by piece. Plague Doctors, Mace, Crushers, Decisive. I really like Decisive on tank, especially if I'm going to use Bloodspawn or anything that's going to generate a tremendous amount of ultimate. Why? Because the trait for this gives me a 20% chance to gain additional ultimate. So I like that. But if you want to go infused and you like infused, by all means, stay with it. Nothing wrong with that. Just personal preference of mine. Plague Doctors, Shield, Infused, Max Health, Ideal. Sword of Plague Doctors, once again, Decisive, Crusher. And no reason I like two Crushers. Let me get into when I'm bar swapping, I'm doing my weave. It's just going. It's basically so I don't, miss the opportunity of, hitting it. Like, I'm just like, weaving. But if you want a different enchantment on the second one, you can do that as well. All right. Plague Doctors, another Shield, Infused, Ideal, Max Health, Bloodspawn, Mask, Medium. I want a Medium and a Light to maintain the Undaunted passive of 6%. This should be Infused. Unfortunately, I can't find my Infused, so I'm going with my Divine. But it helps towards max Magicka, so... Plague Doctors, Curus, Infused, Max Health, Ideal. Bloodspawn, Epilots, Light, Divine. This should be Sturdy, just a heads up. Plague Doctors, Girdle, Reinforced. That should be Sturdy. So those two need to be Sturdy, just a heads up. Ebon Gauntlets, Magicka. So this is Stamina, this is Magicka. This is Divine. I want one or two pieces of Divine just to capitalize on the max Magicka. But if you want to go Sturdy, you can. But I want like one or two pieces of Divine. So that's Ideal. Ebon Greaves, Infused, Max Health, Ideal. Ebon Sturdy, Magicka, Ideal. So probably just one more piece of Sturdy. Probably the belt, and I'd probably be good with this. Okay, we're using the Ebon Jury. This one has recovery. And these two have a reduction cost for block. Okay, let's get into the skills here. Primary bar. Changed up a few things just to make it more manageable for players. So between the swap. So Pierce Armor, no surprise. Major Fracture, Major Breach. Igneous Shield. Remember, this gives us our Major Mending. Also applies a damage shield to 4 other allies. Choking Talons. You're going to notice really quick here. Okay, let me get into this. I'm not using Heroic Slash. I have it. It generates ultimate. Right? I'm not using it. I can slot it, but at this moment I'm not using it. Why? Because I use Choking Talons. I don't use Burning Talons. I use the Choking. Why? Because it affects all enemies with Minor Maim. Now keep in mind, if the enemy or the boss is immune to being held, the Minor Maim will still apply. So I don't need the Heroic Slash for the Minor Maim. Okay? Heads up. Green Dragon Blood. I like this one because it gives me Major Fortitude, Major Endurance, and Minor Vitality. That increases health recovery, stamina recovery by 20% in healing received. Okay, absorb magic, another form of mitigation. Aggressive Warhorn. We're going to use Inner Beast for our range taunt. The reason I'm not taking the Magicka because I have a lot of abilities that already cost Magicka. I don't have a tremendous amount of resource pool in the Magicka, so I have to offset some with stamina cost. So Inner Beast is going to be my ranged ability at the cost of stamina. Unrelenting Grip. This just helps to pull adds into me. Engulfing Flames. This is kind of becoming a thing. You know, it's not becoming. It is a thing for most tanks. I typically will, depending on what I'm looking at, will use this. Most of the time, I use the draw. I use my deep breath. Most of the time, I have this slotted. Okay, most of the time, because it gives me a heal and it applies a stun effect. But you know, it all depends. Situational. So that's my situational bar. Engulfing Flames is pretty standard. Hardened Armor. So when I go ahead and use this, and I go back into my resistances, now I'm at 27, 26. Add the Blood Spawn proc. Now I'm sitting around, a little around 30, 31. So there's that. Okay, Bone Shield. Spiked Bone Shield applies damage. Also offers synergy to my party. And Shield Wall. This is going to need to get morphed. That's just an optional to maintain resources if need be. But most of the time I use the Aggressive Warhorn. Okay, let's get into the champion points real quick. Start off with the Apprentice. Okay, 617 in the Blessed. 10.15 in the Elemental Expert. 4,162 in the Spell Erosion. Nothing into the Astronaut. I have 64 in the Mighty. I have 56 into Piercing. Once again, 120. Last Stand, Major Heroism. Okay. Ironclad, 1602. Spell Shield, 6. Hardy and Elemental Defender are both split at 909. I am not a vampire. If you are a vampire, you might want to put more points in Elemental Defender. Thick Skin, 611. Bastion, I'm going to be using 2 forms of shield system. So I'm going to put a Bastion 1208. Quick Recovery. I'm going to increase my healing received. 909. Heavy Armor Focus. I'm going to be a little light on physical resistance. You want to go ahead and pump this up to about 42 to get an even amount of number. Warlord 904, had 2 points left, put 2 in the Sprinter. Tenacity 8.12, Arcanist 10.15, Mooncalf 10.15, Healthy 4.22. Tumbling 611, and Shadow Wards at 23%, and that is how the champion points are allocated. Okay, let me go ahead and check out the comments, and then I'll pick up the dailies, and we'll run a gameplay and show you guys how this is done. So, I think I'm on the page. Okay, let me check. Caught the beginning. Hey, Josh, what's up? Welcome to the stream, brother. Okay, so we'll pick up the dailies. I don't know what the dailies are yet. I don't think... Well, I did pick them up, but I didn't get to do them when I was doing Somerset speculation this morning. So... And then hopefully tomorrow I finish off with the Warden tank. Bloodroot. Way Rest. Oh no. Okay, cool. Cool deal. Cool deal. Okay. Okay, so Way Rest 1, Blessed Crucible. Gonna reapply that food buff. Use the magic of pots. Just got trash pots for now. It's fine. Like I said, I mean, a lot of people are like, I like the build, just hard on resources, managing it. Some better players are better at managing resources than others. That's to be anticipated, but I want to accommodate the build to maximize its performance, but yet keep in mind what the average player is going to, deal with. Personally, I love high health tanks because I'm aware of the shielding system and the mitigation. But unfortunately, it is very hard with DK to manage resources. Now, keep in mind, you do get that passive every time you cast, you know, an Earth and Heart, you're going to regen stamina. But Magicka can be an issue for DKs. So that's another reason, kind of like, you know, in the past, I used that nice draw essence. But unfortunately, the other one's a little bit more practical due to the, you know, interrupt effect. But once again, you're going to be depending on pots and everything else. That's why I had Magicka recovery a little high initially with the original build, because it was just like I needed a lot of more, you know, Magicka recovery. This build, this version of the build, we've fronted up a lot of our resource pool at the sacrifice of what? Our regen. So that was one of the things that we kind of offset it with. We went with a little bit more of the block reduction. Not that, you know, as long as you're weaving heavy between, you know, the encounters properly with the sword, you regen stamina, but Magicka still becomes the issue. So you're dependent on more upon magic pots or tripods. I am a tank. I'm a dedicated tank. I don't deal crap for damage. I love the new look, though. I pimped this dude out. Get off the mount so you guys can see it better. I love this look. Kind of went with an Imperial, you know, type of Minotaur look. Roman type Minotaur stuff. It was pretty cool. Love the new outfitting system. Okay, there's the queue. You never know what you're gonna get. It's pug life. Bless Crucible, this is cool. Looking for an axe in here if I can get it. Sword Dancer's axe is what I need. Somebody's got the quest.
Walk this way. It's good to be back. Guards, would you be so kind as to open the gates? I bring fresh fighters for the games.
You ain't allowed in here, Taurus. You know that.
I brought you some new competitors. Surely you can...
If you want to know about race, this is an orc. But if you want to go with Nord or Argonian, those are really good options. Imperial's pretty good too. speak to my giant friend here. Okay, I'm just going to turn him.
Speak to my giant friend here.
Somebody say we got triple cure. I think we got triple cure. This dude's healing sucks. Let me check. Says it's dedicated. I don't mean to be rude, but I shouldn't have to wait on heals. That shouldn't happen. Do we get utility? What kind of healer was that? DK. Should be throwing out the mitigation and throwing out orbs and stuff. There's a lot of misses. See, that's kind of what makes players kind of look down on other healers, is when players are missing things like that.
Challenges after all. Take them down. Circle around.
Why does that DK healer have a damaging ability?
Yeah, they bested the finest sloths, drunkards, and fools we had to offer.
Adorable. Shall we give them a pendant?
I say, let's see how
He's gonna have to go bye-bye. He's got Grothar, no resto staff. Okay.
Use this to defeat them.
Okay. Dude, seriously, you're getting on my fucking nerve. That damage shit.
to defeat them.
No cauterize. Yep. He's gone. No way we finish the last boss on whatever if we don't friggin' have a healer. I love DK healers. He's not one. You need one? You need a tank? I hate these players. That's what makes them look... This is what... That's what you get. Stop friggin' queuing for a role you cannot play. If you can't play the role, don't queue as it. You put too much pressure on the other players, especially if you're trying to get scroll. You don't do that. You got a 167 and a 375. You're a 720. Set the example. Smell that bullshit a mile away. Coming from a DK healer, it's an insult. I don't like two things. People queue for a role they can't play and double queuing. Meaning, oh, I can do both. No, you fucking can't. You're not optimized. Templar? That's your excuse? I don't care what you link me, dude. Oh, really? The Master Restoration Staff? That even makes me want to puke even more. You need a tank? I need a real healer. Let me see what my timer's at. Got 1 minute. Give one more chance. I'll go do the other dungeon. Get rid of him. That's fine. I don't care if you got heals. Where is your CP allocated? That makes a difference in healing, guys. If you split your CP points between the two, you either have less healing or you have less damage. Right or wrong. If I'm putting points into Blessed to increase my heals, right, then I'm not dealing a lot of damage. So why am I queuing as a DPS? If I'm putting more points into damage, then why am I queuing as a healer? Those become questionable. That's why I don't like it. It's like, okay, how are you set? You know, that to me makes a world of a difference. I look for optimization, not bleh. I like dedicated players in their roles. You can play any role, that's fine, but when you're double queued, that's one thing it's telling me. I'm not optimized for either or. That's what it's telling me. I have points in here, I have points in there, I have points a little everywhere. It's like, oh, okay, sure. Let's just go with that. Sure, it's fine. And it's like the same thing. It's like when I go in as a healer, I don't have a tank. If I don't have a real tank, guess who pulls aggro? Initially. Healers do. So, not cool. I'm a healer, not a killer. Right. Thank you, Juan. Thank you. You're absolutely right, Juan. You're absolutely 100% correct. Smell gold willpower jewelry? I think you do, Krill. What did the healer fake Q? Yep. Straight up. I had a fake healer queued as a DK. So I was like, okay, well, he's definitely not throwing any fucking heals. And then I have a double Q Templar who throws a Master Restoration Staff as a link. I'm like, now I really want to boot your ass just because you link that. Because now, if you even have double set stack, you have, like, what, 16k health with no, like, you know, resistance? It's like, man, now I really want to boot your ass. I haven't used the Master Restoration Staff since fucking the whole change for the double stack config.
I don't know if you...
It's like, holy shit, man. People gotta quit watching these other content creating trash. I'd rather deal with like noobs in their 100s than deal with trash players double queuing. Let me turn him, get away from him. You'll see that minor maim applied. See, that's the thing. You don't need the other one if you're using the choking. Sure, you don't get that minor heroism, but even if he's immune, look, the minor maim's applied. But once again, I'm probably feeding misinformation to my community members. Yo, Deeps, where are you, yo? Frigate. I was gonna wait. Huh.
Stick 'em, bleed 'em, and leave 'em for the skeevers.
I need healing.
To metal as well? I could always use more corpses.
Keeping that debuff applied as much as possible. Keeping the minor brutality on my party members. Very important.
Tormented souls of the dead arise and kill these interlopers.
just see it, like... Okay. We're gonna pull in the ghost.
Kill these interlopers.
Okay. I'm gonna use that nice ranged taunt. Can't believe I didn't do this quest ever.
You got it. You have it.
On that door bug again. someone pull something? Or... There we go. Make sure everybody's in. Missing one person. Don't drop yet. Don't drop yet. Whoa, dude! We're down to DPS because you... What was you smoking? Dude, get your ass back here. You're not the tank. You don't hit shit. Don't weave, don't do shit. There he is. Saucer Lane needs to get that fixed. Pesky mud crabs, man. Sorry about that, that's my daughter. I'm gonna mute this for a minute.
Who are you?
Let's move.
Pain ain't the word for what we're gonna do to you.
Burn it.
Burn it! Move the flank! I'm hurt! Fight it up!
Kill me.
On the side!
Set it ablaze.
I need aid!
Let's take the...
You can't take us all. Set it ablaze.
Aid me.
Tell me that wasn't a cool trick.
Destroy. Anyone jump me?
Yeah, DPS might be a little light, but I'd rather play with players like this than play with friggin' nasty friggin' shit, making my whole experience a lot rougher. We got healers, we got DPS. Sure, it's not the best, but you know what? They're doing good. And I'd rather play like with players who are learning and who are trying to improve upon their role. Now players like, we don't need a healer. I'll queue as a healer. We don't need a tank. I'll queue as a tank. It's like it's a vet, bitch. Anytime you are not playing your designated role, it puts strain on another player. Not necessarily you, but on another player. Completely unacceptable.
Looks like we're digging some more shallow graves, lads.
I don't know if they'll be able to handle it, but we're going to try it. Come on. Ah, that's why. Here we go. Don't pull. You do not want that initial aggro. Might have to do like magma shell. Should have slotted it. Heals looks good. Get the healer up. Just try and keep the debuffs and the shields up between teleportations. Magma Shell goes a long way in that aspect as well. Kind of alleviates the healer, so he doesn't bottom out. People just don't instantly die. Perfect timing. We'll get through it. It's all good. Rather play with every one of these players here than max players every day of the week who don't queue right. I would rather play with these type of players every day. It says a lot. You know.
Our investigation of Pellingares are one.
There you guys have it. The Unyielding Brute. Put yourself in the worst situation to test your skills, your knowledge, and, you know, all that is what I say. Let me check out the comments before I wrap it up. Alrighty. Dirty Fox, only way he drops health is to drop Plague Doctors. He doesn't have points into health, and this is a common setup for a majority of tanks, yeah. it's why my DPS is set up the way it is, because I can rely on having a perfect team every time, right? My tank is Imperial. Honestly, I wish I had made him Argonian, but I've done the skin runes for Maz, Cradle, Shadows, Little. Yeah, no, Imperial's good, Dirty. I think Imperial's good. Argonian's good too, but like this is an orc. So I like Nords, Orcs, Argonian, and Imperial. I think they all make really good tanks. Yeah, then you swap out your fit. See, but you know how to make your adjustments, Dirty, so that's cool. You know how to offset it, do it based on race. That's cool. You just running dungeons? Yeah, Tom, I was just running a dungeon to, show the build. That's all I was doing. Orc is mainer. Yeah, definitely Orc. I use both, and as Orc, you rely more on shards and orbs. Are you okay, Mystic? Yeah. I'm just kind of here because you missed it, Mustang. I was queuing in a dungeon, had one person queue as a healer who had not one friggin' heal. And then the second one was a Templar who was double queued, but it's okay because he had the Master Staff. And he was just, I was like, no, I just want to, like, whatever. So I get into a pug, and they're low, and they're whatever, but they were all in their designated roles. So I mean, and we got through it. And that the funny thing about it is knowing how to play that. And I would rather play with players who are queuing in as the roles that they can play, and that's why I'm kind of like, sometimes I get a little whatever about players queuing roles that they're not designed to play. I wish Zoss would, address this issue, because as a new player coming in, that screws up a lot of things. I mean, imagine you're a fresh 160. You're starting to walk into vet content, and all of a sudden, you're in a role, let's say if you're a healer, and there's no tank. Who pulls initial aggro, right? Who pulls the initial aggro? I gotta sell some shit. Who pulls it? The healer. The healer's going to get the aggro, and without a tank, and he's a fresh 160, he's dead. So the funny thing about it is the devs have to address this sooner or later. It's one of the problems with the queue system. And because every class can play every role, they haven't, been able to isolate a way that the queue system can recognize, hey, this is a tank. Hey, this is a healer. And honestly, I think anytime they put a double queue in, it should just say, you must select designated role. Now, will that stop players from doing pre-made and just walking in a dungeon? Hey, if you want to do that, by all means. But don't pug a dungeon where a player, is going to get... You're basically like, we don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. And then all of a sudden, that happened to me on Xbox with you, Mustang, remember? Person comes in as, a tank. I'm healing. And they're like, I can solo this. And the next boss, he dies. I'm like, really? I thought you could solo this because the boss just mobbed you, and he left before I could say anything. But that was the implied effect. Zoss needs to address it. As an MMO, it's probably, the game is really, its basic features and functions are really good, but they have the worst queue system in the history of MMOs. Is the queue system in this game is horrendous. I'm a PS4 EU, but really thinking of swapping to PC. PC's good. Dirty, you'd like PC. Oh, I remember that. It was horrible. Yeah, the guy getting killed, though, was funny, wasn't it?
Did your invitation arrive?
Yeah, Tom, I'm about to cut it. I just did a video, but yeah, definitely, Tom, get a hold of me sometime, man. I'll play with you. I like playing with my viewers, especially. I get with my viewers all the time on PC, and, I play with a lot of my sponsors and viewers on Xbox, so anytime you want to play, man. I definitely like running, stuff, so it's cool. Anyways, guys, I'm going to cut this. This is the updated version of the Unyielding Brute. It works. It's good. It's solid. As mentioned, like I said, I recalculated a few things in the stat pool. I personally like to keep over 40 for mitigation purposes, but, the way I had originally said it, I went with low resources, higher in recovery points because I was good. I could do it. But a lot of players can't. So I was like, well, I got to accommodate to the average player. So we brought the health down, increased the max stats, but at what? At the cost of recovery points. So that's how we made the adjustments for the Dragon Bones DLC. So, and of course, you can take this all the way to endgame as a main tank, off tank. If you want, I would suggest this kind of a configuration more for main tank than off tank. Off tank, you can go a little bit more DPS. You don't need as much max health, and you can pull more resources, and that's kind of an advantage of an off tank. Off tanks just need to hold aggro for the splits and for, you know, minor occurrences like ad control, so they can, you know, push out a little bit more if they want to in their configurations. But for main tank, you know, the more you mitigate, right, the more you mitigate, the less taxing it is on healing resources. That's important. And a lot, not every, but a lot of tanks mitigate from max health for their shielding system. So that's why I'm always telling people you have to understand mitigation. Mitigation 101. There are some exceptions in this game other than any other game, you know, with Sork tanks being one of the, and Nightblade tanks being the two exceptions. But most of your mitigating shield systems scale max health. So, food for thought. All right. Just food for thought. All right, guys. I'm going to let you guys go. If anybody has any questions or comments about the Unyielding Brute, please post below. I want to thank you guys for watching. And once again and always, have a nice day.